Well, folks, this is activity number 1 in the homework assignment for week 5 of the computer design course, winter of 26. You're asked to parameterize this object that you see in front of you. However, the parameterization is not strictly parameterization, it's just renaming of the dimensions. Activity 2 will be the case where I actually create parameters and create formulas to fully parameterize that, but not rename. Okay, my first job is to make a model like that. Let's not worry about dimensions. And then we're going to see how we can rename the dimensions and do the homework problem. So let me start with the part file. Okay. We'll call it activity 1, renaming. Right. Let's move on. Okay. Don't forget to save this thing immediately, but I'm not going to do that. My first job is to make that geometry, so on that vertical plane. And please keep in mind that there are many ways of doing these problems. This is how I chose to do it. So I'll do a half a circle. Excuse me. Okay. Another one. Okay. Another one. All right. Then I'm going to draw a line that actually passes through this point. So I'm going to draw a line like so. It passes through that point and it is obviously tangent to it. And to make my job easier, I'm going to mirror this thing down below. So I'm going to mirror this line with respect to this. Okay, and then I will draw another line going from this endpoint to that axis and mirror this with respect to that line. Okay, now let's check a couple of things, and that is, notice that if I move this thing, everything moves in unison the way I want it. And let's do a bit of a cleanup here. First of all, I'm going to do a quick trim. I'm going to get rid of this line and that line and this line. So what you see here is, let me actually close this. Let me actually close this line. Another one, and I can mirror this thing. This mirror with respect to that. Okay, so basically what I've created is that shape for you. Okay, now let's check it out. Make sure that everything is the way they're supposed to. So for example, if I select this and move it, everything should move together, maintaining symmetry. Or if I take that circle and, oops, we have a problem here. So notice that the reason that's happening is that these are not coincident. Okay, so Control Z. Okay, so we can make this point, control that point from the line below it, or at least this line, can make them coincident. It's always a good idea to check these things, make sure that they work the way they're supposed to. So let's see now. Yep, okay, everything's okay, except that these should stay horizontal. Control Z. So this line you make it horizontal. And probably have to do the same thing down here, because if I move this thing, one of them will change. Well, let's see now. This one is okay. Okay, very good. Okay, maybe because this was symmetric, it's working. Yeah, excellent. All right, so now we're gonna dimension stuff. So let's dimension this circle, dimension that circle, dimension this angle. And I don't have to do this because it's symmetric, so it's going to work. And there's something else here that we have to do. The distance from the center all the way to that corner. So dimension from this point to that point. Okay, excellent. Now, exit and pad it. Very good. Okay, so now we're going to do the renaming. So if you click, let me go to that sketch. There we are. If I click on this f of x, see that? F of x, which is called formula. And I click on the sketch. Okay. All the stuff that's in the sketch appear right here. Notice that these all have to do with that sketch. So, for example, that dimension, it has this weird long name. I want to change that name to R. Did we call it R1? R1. Okay. So notice that this name is no longer that weird name. It is R1. This one, I'm going to make it R2. Okay. That is right here. And I want to call that thing L. L. And finally, this angle, I want to call it beta. Beta. Very good. Say okay. Exit. Now, if I do f of x here one more time, so right there, and click on the pad, the stuff related to pad is going to pop up. And this is the padded length, which is right here. I want to change that thing to, I believe I want it to be W. And then we say, okay. All right. Very good. So notice that I have renamed stuff. There are no parameters here, okay, that I've created. So now if I go, let me move this thing on the side. If I go to this f of x and change this with the pull down menu, change this to rename parameters, all the stuff that I have changed here appear. For example, if I make this angle beta, let's say, maybe 70 degrees, 70 degrees, apply. Notice that the whole thing is resized and this thing is now 70 degrees. If I change this thing, for example, to 30 degrees, the whole thing resized and this is 30 degrees. If I go to L, that's this distance. If I make it 200, right there, go to R1. Let's make this thing, for example, it's the outer radius, so let's make it, what is it right now, 78 and 90. There we are, that's 90. This is the inside radius. If I change this thing to maybe 20, there we are. And finally, the width is that width. If I make this thing 40, apply, and we say okay. So what I have done, in a sense, I have renamed stuff so that I have access to those renamed entities that I created and changed it from from the database. And let me remind you how it's done. Go to f of x here. If I select everything, it shows me everything is database. If I just want to see the stuff that I rename, from the pull down menu, select rename, and there we are. Now, if you put something unreasonable for these, for example, let me make I don't know, maybe let's make R2, maybe 80. So you may get stuff that you're not expecting, and sometimes you put a value here depending on what else you have there, that actually the sketches become self-intersecting, or it doesn't meet require that you want, and it's not going to work. So let me put this thing back to maybe 30. Why? Looks better. Okay, in the next activity, I will actually create parameters. I don't rename, but I create parameters. All right, good luck. Don't forget to save. Submit.